No.
Hello, everybody. I did a dumb.
Only
So,
two more, he says. Only two more.
the plan was we would do all of the Volume 4 World of Remnants at once. Those of you that, have a better memory than me probably realized, weren't there a lot of those? And you would be right. There were a lot of those. I thought there were like 6, including the 4 ones for the kingdoms. There are 8, and some of them are quite lengthy. So,
There's two more, Zero. Don't worry. Oh, wait, sorry, I forgot one. There's two more after this.
my bad.
Oh.
So yeah, we'll run through these quick, and then Zero can have a fun one, and we can do the Volume 4 premiere.
Yeah.
Be happy again.
Yeah.
My bad.
Yeah, the show's called Zero Interest, and interest is dropping. No,
My
not really,
bad.
actually. Uh,
Hey, it's interesting lore, and it's useful lore. So
all right, so first of all, we saw the first four World of Remnants were about the various countries that have popped up. Essentially, Vale is fun, happy land with natural borders.
yeah, they
Uh,
didn't really talk much else about it beyond the fact that on one side there's mountains, on the other side there's
yeah,
water. There's Patch, little island that has a settlement on it, which is where Ruby's from. And they tried to expand beyond the mountain, but it didn't go so well, and that was Mountain Glen. So
and you have Mistral over there, and boy, they're they have a lot of environments and a lot of art and culture, but that's for the rich people. All the poor people run in the black market and all do sorts of nefarious evils.
yeah.
And there's a big disparity between rich and poor.
And once
Uh,
again, it's also Remnant China.
yeah, essentially.
And it's built
Uh,
into cliffs as well.
yeah.
That's another thing.
And then here's Atlas. Originally, there was another place here called Mantle, but Atlas sprang up, and because the environment here was so tough, Atlas had really fast technological advances to survive, and basically they became real strong real quick because of their environment, which makes sense.
Yep.
And then you had Vacuo, and they were all chilled and relaxed over there
Yep,
until they started to get invaded.
they were basically on Easy Street in an oasis in the middle of a desert, so it was hard for Grim to even survive there, let alone attack them. So they could just lay back and relax and have fun, chill out, what's up, and then everyone else attacked them because they had
Yeah.
awesome resources.
And so then they all had to get tough and they had to get rough and they had to become more nomadic and not just laze around in the oasis.
Hmm.
And basically a fun bunch of people that's really tight with each other and they're tight with you if you can survive there. Uh, Fun place. I'm not sure I'd like the weather there because it's really hot and dry. I burn easily.
You
Uh,
burn easily, do you? You burn
yes,
easily?
yes, I do. You don't even burn; you just turn into dust.
You're not wrong.
Yeah,
Also, I don't know whether anyone can hear that, but I'm very hungry because we've been doing this for a while.
and so that's the four kingdoms, basically. Things to take away from it. They're going to Mistral right now. Mistral
Don't be
and
fancy.
Mistral, and that's going to be a interesting place because you're going to have, like they said, lots of a variety of different places and climates,
Yep.
or ecosystems and everything. So it would be the fun place to go on an adventure next. I feel like because you get a lot of variety out of that before going into like the Atlas arc, because I feel like that would be just an arc of you're in Atlas and it's snowy and depressing.
I mean, Vacuo would probably be fun too, but that's a different kind of
Vacuo
fun.
would Vacuum would be fun, and I feel like it would be just a good arc, but I feel like trying to survive in Atlas would not be great. Uh,
To be
would
clear,
be
Volume 4 isn't all just going to Mistral. It's actually a few different places because
yeah,
all
no,
the team is separated. It's actually more like vignettes of
I
each different main character.
yeah. As I was talking, I was thinking in the back of my mind, oh yeah, Weiss is going to Atlas, so we'll get to see what Atlas looks like, which is what all I really want to see because they're the most advanced technologically. I want to see what they got.
You don't see as much of it as you would like, but oh well.
Okay, darn it. Um, that's about it. Those episodes don't offer really that much in terms of things.
Yep.
Just kind of basic summaries.
Yep. So we know a bit. It's very much basic world building for like, hey, you want to write something in the setting? There you go. Then we have Faunus.
Mm-hmm. We have the episode Faunus.
Yeah, we did this slightly out of order because this one was more appropriate to do after the kingdoms because it's kind of like a fifth kingdom almost.
Yeah, Menagerie is a great place to go if you're Faunus. I guess. Here,
Not so much
get out of
not.
get out of our sight, you Faunus. Here's a continent that's nobody's using.
Yeah, so it gives you some basic data about the species specifically. Like, if you get two Faunus of the same species, the baby will be the same species. If it's a Faunus and a human, then it'll probably be the species of Faunus, or it will be a human.
And if you get two different types of Faunus,
who the fuck knows what you're gonna get out of it?
your child now has scales, but he's a dog father. Dog father.
Okay, yeah.
I find that funny. Godfather, dog father. Yeah.
Yeah. So they go into why the Faunus are treated kind of shit because they're different, and that means they should be treated like shit, but also because they can be kind of threatening. They're like humans, but have fangs a lot of the time.
Or claws, and you're like, I don't. Okay, that's a monster. People were dumb, hated on him.
It's kind of like an uncanny valley sort of monster. It's like us, but not.
One thing I do want to say, it was like, oh, they were persecuted, and it shows all the X's on the map. There's no X that appears in Atlas.
It's implied that there was persecution there as well.
I'm curious as to how Atlas treats the Faunus. Like, do they just not allow them at all?
Well, because STC is based there. So not well is the accepted answer to that question.
I bet they're liked in Vacuo.
Probably, yeah. Wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, that's where Sun is from, right?
Yeah. He's from Vacuo, but he goes to Haven School.
Yeah.
In Mistral, that is, to be clear. Yeah, so basically, history of the Faunus, as has been retconned, I mentioned this in Season 1, but they fought in the Great War, and that meant that they got better treatment from humans, and equal rights, and all that stuff. But it didn't really work out that way. I mean, you can say that as much as you want, but it doesn't work out like that immediately, as is proven in reality.
It's like after the Civil War, we freed all the slaves. It doesn't mean that they immediately got every single right and were treated like. There was still a lot of racism and prejudice and things they couldn't do.
Yeah,
that got resolved.
Also like the Civil Rights Revolution, where let's all be better people to one another and everyone should be equal, and then it still doesn't work like that.
It doesn't work perfectly in real life, and it wouldn't work perfectly here. So
as a quote-unquote reward for their service in the Great War, the Faunus were given the southeastern continent. I don't know whether they actually named it, but it was then named Menagerie because the Faunus settled there because animals.
Yeah, animal. Oh, that's a real knee slapper right there.
Yeah, so some people saw it as, the right thing, and others saw it, this is just kind of leave us alone and get away from us. We don't want your kind in our nice kingdoms.
And by putting us away where we can organize, don't poke the bear too much. Because, hey, look, it's a white fang. I wonder where did that come from? I don't know.
So that's Faunus. Next, we did Between Kingdoms.
Yeah, which Casey had a problem with.
Okay, a lot of this one was fine, and I had no problems with. Like, settlements spring up between kingdoms because they don't want to deal with the kingdom's problems. They want a simpler life. Maybe they don't fit in the kingdoms, or they have reasons that they can't really go into a kingdom, like criminal element. That wouldn't surprise me.
Lots of potential reasons why.
Yeah, so why these settlements might spring up, sure, that makes sense, and it makes sense that they would have to be clever about it, but they could theoretically defend themselves from Grimm for a time.
Yeah, if they have natural barriers and good defenses and good townspeople, they can last a long time.
And it's nice that they acknowledge that even with all that stuff, they will still drop like flies. Bandits.
Yeah.
So let's run through the concept of bandits. They attack places and then leave. They
attack places and steal stuff.
They raid cities, towns, whatever. Kill people, steal things, other terrible things that might happen when a bandit attacks a town. And then they leave. So, these people probably are filled with negative emotions, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would say that, and I would say that by attacking towns and leaving people alive and suffering, they create bigger targets of negative emotions.
Mm-hmm. So these bandits that have negative emotions would basically be constantly targeted by Grimm.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
How the fuck could bandits be a thing in this setting? That doesn't make sense.
But okay, say there were let's liken the negative emotions to say a light, right? Let's say each bandit is a torch. So what they do is they go and start a bonfire in somebody's town. Essentially, is I think the concept they're trying to go for. So they travel from town to town, destroying crap and leaving people suffering, and that takes the heat off of them.
That would be a good explanation. One problem. The Grimm are fucking everywhere.
Yeah.
Literally everywhere. Like, that is the first thing it says in this episode is, well, what's between the kingdoms? Grimm is what's between the kingdoms. Everywhere. So, the bandits going from place to place, it doesn't really matter if they left behind a bonfire. When you get far enough away from the bonfire, you're still a torch. Well, you're still a gathering of torches, bright lights that attract moths, let's say, to continue the metaphor. So, they live a life of constant fear, where they have to be constantly on edge because they will constantly be getting attacked by the Grimm. They are making everyone else miserable. They are making themselves miserable. Why? How do they exist in the first place is a question. Why would they exist is a better question. Like, why be a bandit? Why choose the life where you are constantly in mortal peril when it doesn't improve your life in the slightest?
The only reason I can think is because they want that. Because they're insane. I don't know. What do you do with I feel like to be abandoned in this setting, you have to be mentally unstable in some way.
Yeah. I agree with that, yeah.
And I feel like that's the only way. And I haven't seen any bandits in the show, but if we do, and they're like completely high-functioning, normal people, I won't understand how they can exist.
We've seen one. You find out about that person in this season, briefly. High functioning, yes. Stable, debatable. So I don't know. You might have a point there. So yeah,
It's like that's the only reason is like they literally like they thrive on doing what they're doing. Like it is what makes them like even like these people are filled with all sorts of negative emotions, and the only way to really help with that problem is to be a problem to other people.
Yeah. So this one bothered me. Like to the point of ranting in the comments about it. It bothered me. And
like I just think you have to be the worst scum to be a bandit in this setting.
Generally you have to be in the first place in any setting to do that.
But no, this setting particularly, you would have to be insane because there's Grim everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, like we said earlier, the small towns, they don't have the communications capabilities that. So you could theoretically just go into a small town and live a life, and just be a normal person. Like, it's not like they have criminal records that they can, like databases they can use for bandits. It's not the thing that really.
Yeah.
So
I mean, as long as they have positive emotions and they live in a small town, they can live out a life until the small town is swallowed by Grim.
Yeah. So yeah, that one frustrated me. Moving on. The SDC, Shenee Dust Company.
Yay!
So, short version, Mantle was suffering because they were running out of dust because they had to improve their technology base very rapidly so that they could survive. So, a fellow named Nicholas, Nicholas Shenee, decided, I'm going to go to combat school, I'm going to work the mines, and then his dad died, and I'm going to use the money that he left me so that we can find a new dust deposit so that our kingdom can continue to thrive. And
this Nick Shenee, good old Saint Nicholas, was running around getting presents for everyone.
I just got that. Thank you for that. That's actually what it is, isn't it? God damn it.
With all his elves that would follow him and
I feel stupid.
Presents.
I feel so stupid.
Living up in the North Pole.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so he starts the Shenee Dust Company on his success of finding a new dust deposit that was lucrative. And he was a super cool guy who would lead new expeditions personally rather than leaving them to it and just running things behind the scenes. And he was super cool, but his health started failing him because of working in the dust mines. You are so smug right now. Yeah, so he retires, and Jacques something. I forget what his
full name is.
I don't know what the male equivalent of maiden name is, but it's not entirely important. He married Nicholas' daughter, so he pulled a Gendo and became Jacques Shenee. And he's a dick. And he convinced Saint Nick that he was the best person to run the SDC.
His workshop.
And he basically turned it into a corporation, basically, is the long and short of it.
Yeah.
Any corporation that is profit-focused, he turned it into that. And it was successful. He was very, very successful and made it more profitable than ever. But
it's kind of crushing people.
Yeah. And his reputation is only being held up by the fact that he has a very, very good PR team.
Yeah. And it kind of ends with, I don't know about the future of it. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Hey, look, here's Weiss.
Also, I totally guessed the identity of Shenee's dad as being Jack Frost. It's not subtle with the name.
It's literally the plot of the Santa Claus 3.
Oh God. Okay.
in which Jack Frost takes over and he turns the workshop into an amusement park.
That's terrible, but hilarious.
It's true.
So basically, the story of the Schnee Dust Company is Jack Frost steals the company from Santa Claus, and Jack Frost's daughter, Snow White, wants to save it and turn it back into the workshop of toys and wonder that it used to be.
How's that for fan fiction, huh?
Yep, that's yeah. Goddamn.
Oh, and in the Santa Claus 3, you have I need a successor, and oh, hey, look, here's my granddaughter.
You're not serious, right?
No, I am serious. Like, I am completely serious.
Okay, well,
It is the Santa Claus 3.
in fairness, it's a better story than the Santa Claus 3. So
Oh yeah, definitely. There was
Okay.
time travel and some sort of BS in that one.
yeah, okay. So that was a Schnee Dust Company. Yeah, there's a lot of fan speculation that they abuse fairness more than anyone else, and it's supported by the fact that it was a fairness in the image of the getting crushed thing.
Yeah.
And finally, the Great War. So we've explained this pretty thoroughly in previous episodes. Mistral and Atlas, Mantle, sorry, wanted to suppress creativity and art and expression because they figured it would stop them from attracting the Grimm. And yeah, kind of ish. It didn't.
I mean, doesn't
especially
that
well,
just...
but
I feel like if you try to crush people down, you're just going to create more negative emotions.
yeah, basically. But they thought it would work. It didn't show any improvement, but it didn't show any detriment either. So, and then Mistral decides, hey, that island over there, that continent over there, that could be a nice settlement. Let's take over that, shall we? And Vale was eyeing that space up, and war were declared.
King of Vale was like, "Hey, let's be cool, guys.
Yeah.
Let's be cool."
And then,
And then somebody-
something happened. Fucking Franz Ferdinand situation goes on, and the war is on. That was a World War One reference, by the way, if you're not aware.
Yeah, I know.
I know you are. I'm saying to the audience. Actually, I didn't know that you are, but kudos to you on getting. Kudos to you, audience, as well. If you got it, I don't know. I shouldn't talk down to you so much. Yeah. So Vacuo is kept out of it basically by being strong-armed by Mantle and Mistral. Basically saying, just stay out of it and you'll be fine, and we won't bother you. And then it became, maybe you should join our side. It's a
And
winning team.
and Vacuum was like, "Okay, no.
Yeah.
No. First off, you guys think over Vale, you're coming after us next. We don't trust people because we got our butts kicked."
Yep.
Like, in their lore, they got their butts kicked, and they were like, "Oh, we need to survive," and our oasis was taken away from us. We don't trust you that much. We're going to join Vale on this. And war
so
started.
They kicked out the Mistral and Mantle embassies and said, yeah, fucking kick 'em ass. Vale.
And then there was a bunch of fights. Final war takes place. They're trying to take over Vacuo. King of Vale shows up, and he has a scepter and a sword, and he just annihilates everyone because he's a warrior king. And everybody's like, "Yeah, we want to work under you." And he's like, "No, we must all work together and have our own peace conference."
Yep, and they do on the Island of Vital. Vital Festival starts and all that stuff that we talked about previously. And he decides that he is just going to teach future warriors how to fight, provided that they only fight to protect themselves rather than destroy themselves.
I do want to note the two weapons that he uses are a sword and a scepter. What does Ozpin use?
You have just landed on the speculation that a lot of people have been having ever since this thing aired.
there is one other thing. This is probably just dumb, but I keep thinking about how Jean's sword was passed down from generation to generation, and he comes from a lineage of great warriors and heroes.
Hmm.
I was wondering if his sword could be connected to the king. Could be the.
It's entirely possible. It's said that his granddad fought in the Great War, I want to say. I might be mistaken on that. I'd have to look at that.
Because again, weapon that comes from a great lineage of really awesome warriors, and it could be something. We haven't seen any of his family, so that could be why. Could be super big spoils.
That actually just raises further questions as to his own personal backstory, but whatever. Yeah, so that's pretty much...
How did he cheat? Well,
all of that.
Yeah.
That's the entire world of Remnants as far as they have been released. We are now all caught up on those. And on Chibi. Incidentally.
And he explained all of the game to me as well.
I did do that. It was... Yeah, you weren't missing much. Don't worry about it.
So, basically, it's like all the stuff... It's like I've learned all the lore. I've played Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.8, and now I'm ready to move on to 3.
Yay. Only the difference here is 3's out. 3 actually released and exists in the world.
Unlike Kingdom Hearts 3, which will never come out.
Sad.
I can't wait. I can't wait until Kingdom Hearts 2.9.
That's going to be a thing. That's really going to be a thing. That's not even a joke.
Why would you do 2.8? Why? Why not 2.9?
Leave some wiggle room. Well, I guess they don't know how decimal points work. Like, they could do 2.9, then do 2.995 if they really wanted to.
2.81, 2.811.
Those are the patch notes. No, those are DLC.
Oh, that series is a mess. But this series isn't.
No.
It's not as messy. So
it's tidying itself up, is the way I would phrase it. It was kind of a mess in the first season. This sort of stuff helps a lot. So
it's really fleshing out the world to the point where, hey, you could make an OC or something. Or, do a fan fiction crossover with like Naruto or something. I don't know.
Probably work. You saw that I updated that, didn't you?
Once I finish season 4, I'll start reading it, probably, or I might not. I don't know. I'm going to go on a
matter. There's nothing in volume 4 that is spoiled, so it's incidental.
I'm going to go on like a RWBY fic binge once we're all caught up.
Probably.
So, all right.
So that was World of Remnant 4 season 4. Thank God that's over.
Yeah.
I didn't mean for that to be such a slog, but it ended up that way. So, we're moving on with Volume 4, starting next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
I wave with the heel of my hand now, for some reason.
Like this? Oh, okay, I see. I wave with the heel of my hand.